Hi everyone, I'm Aparna Tyagarajan and this is the Naarishakti Show, a space where women's voices, our journeys and strength take center stage. Every week, through honest conversations with real women, we present stories of inspiration, grit, grace and resilience. Today, I have the absolute privilege of having with us a leader who proves that staying relevant in the industry isn't just about luck, it's about evolution. As the managing partner at Jagadamba Jewelers and Pearls, she serves as the vital bridge between the storied 120-year-old brand and the fast paced modern world. Recently honored as the icon of women entrepreneurship and empowerment at the 2025 India Leadership Conclave, she has been the driving force behind the brand's boldest expansions and its commitment to purpose driven leadership. From the historic Nizam era roots of Hyderabad to the digital first storefronts of today, she is redefining what it means to lead a legacy empire. Please join me in welcoming the super gorgeous Radhika Aggarwal. Welcome to the show, Radhika.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so Jagadamba Jewelers and Pearls has been a household name since 1905, so a 120-year-old brand. So how do you balance the weight of the century-old legacy with its need to be disruptive and be relevant in 2026 and beyond?
So, first of all, thank you so much for having me here at Shobhatam,
Thank you.
a brand that celebrates the beauty of Indian craftsmanship with authenticity.
Thank you. And that's what you do as well. So, a lot of shared synergies here.
Absolutely. I feel we do a lot of parallel work and we do aspire to do what you've been doing with the world, with jewelry, what you've been doing with clothes.
The admiration is mutual, Radhika.
Thank you so much. So, coming to your question, I have joined Jagdamba Jewelers and Pearls as a managing director some 2 decades back. And this isn't just a business for me, it was a legacy that I had got the privilege to take it forward. And since then, we've been working on transforming traditional craftsmanship and combining it with modern design sensibilities to make it relevant for the women of today. Apart from this, we also do a lot of heirloom work, which I feel carries a lot of emotions and memories. So we keep the soul of it and add a lot of designing aspects to it so that jewelry comes out of lockers and it could be worn every day. Recently, a client had come to me with a intricate gold necklace. It was really beautiful. And she said, I want earrings to be designed with it. So we designed the earrings, and after we got the approval, I given to the craftsman for making the jewelry. And then the craftsman said, this looks of very old karigari. ये तो मुझे 100 years पुराना piece लगता है कारीगरी. I can't match to this. I think, I will not be able to do a good job. So I said, no, I think I want you to do it. My team also told me, don't take that risk because the risk was not small. If the client wouldn't like the piece, it would come back to us.
Right.
But still, I had that trust in our craftsmen and we went ahead with it with a lot of tweaking and, going forward, doing a lot of changes in it. Finally, the piece was ready and it looked very similar to the necklace. The client came to us and when she saw those earrings, she was overwhelmed with joy.
Okay.
She told us that this was actually a piece that her nani had given to her mom.
Okay.
And it was indeed a 100 years old piece.
Okay.
And it was a tagdi, which she had converted into a necklace.
Wow.
And her mom had given to her. And now she wanted to wear it on her daughter's wedding day.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
But she said, I've been to 3-4 top jewelers of the city. Everybody refused for this reason that this is very old craftsmanship. We will not be able to match it. And I felt so proud that day that, we are able to give that traditional craftsmanship and combine it with, modern design. This is what a client looks at. So these kind of stories earlier just used to stay with us. But now, with the social media, as we've been talking about the digital age, we're able to get these kind of stories, to the world. So I think it's very important. We are able to, I'm finding my voice and my brand's voice there
Right.
on social media.
Right.
So when we talk about educating the clients that, where the pearls come from, how to identify the fake and the real pearls, when you talk about these kind of emotional stories, this is how we build trust.
True.
And I feel legacy is something which helps us to build credibility and trust. And talking about innovation, innovation is something that takes it forward
True.
and
Very
makes it
true.
relevant for today.
Very
So
true.
I think legacy and innovation are going hand in hand, and that is what we are able to do. Today's clients are looking for authentic jewelry, they want modern designs, and they're looking for digital convenience also.
True. Very well said.
So, through the years, we have worked quite a bit on a lot of things. That is modernizing the designs and uh, evolving a lot of systems, customizations, lot of storytelling. E-commerce have been a major part of our business, and we've introduced a lot of categories depending upon what people are liking. Like we've introduced lab-grown diamond jewelry as a brand of Aroha, and we've also introduced silver statement jewelry. We have also come up with our own pearl farm. Okay, cultivating our own pearls.
So you have complete control over
Yes.
quality.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that way, I think we are all set to, be a part of the digital age
And disrupted.
and disrupted it.
Okay. So, there's, as you were saying all these points, there was so much that I could actually relate with because we are here doing something very, very similar in the handloom arts and crafts space. So, talk about legacy, talk about heritage. That's what all our saris are about. There's so much wisdom, there's so much scientific, reasoning behind, why things are the way they are, which the modern society does not understand. There is beauty in these products. But to make it relevant to today's generation, there is storytelling that is involved that needs to be done because the Gen Z crowd and today's generation is actually very smart.
Yes.
Right? They don't just buy things blindly. Gone is the era where people would buy something because their grandma said so, because their mom said so. They want to do it because they want to know why, right? Does it make sense to them? So that's where you actually bridge the gap between centuries old heritage and today's era through social media, through modern heritage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the second part of it, right? Because when you think of jewelry and saris, they're all very emotional investments, right? So how does the modern Indian woman's relationship with pearl actually has changed since you stepped in 2 decades ago, right?
Yes. So, as you already told us, how the women preferences and all have changed. See, I feel when it comes to jewelry, jewelry has been an integral part of women
Yes.
since centuries. When we talk about Stridhan, what was that? That was just not a cultural belief. It was a financial safety net
True.
for women.
True.
And Indian women understood that very well. So earlier women used to buy for that financial security, and they used to feel jewelry is only one thing that they could say it's hers.
Yes, very true.
Yes. And they used to buy for weddings and for traditions and passing it on to the next generation. So these were the ideas. When I had joined business, I could see that the main idea for buying jewelry would be one of these. But now I think there has been an evolution in the design, in the thinking of women. Today's woman is more aware. She wants something that is, representing her identity
Very true.
as part of her self-expression. She's looking for something like that. So I think, and there are a lot of things, she is the kind of jewelry that she's looking is also very different. She's looking at mixing things. She's looking at a lot of experimentation. For example, if we would talk about your saris, as you said, a Kanchipuram sari, a woman would think that she would pair it up with temple jewelry or probably uncut diamonds is something, polki is something what we should think earlier. But today, women wants to, club it with the pearls with gemstones, what we've seen yesterday at one of your events. Okay, and there are a lot of mix and match that she would look at. For example, she would want to put, traditional temple jewelry with fusion silhouettes, and or ethnic linen kurta. She would think of pairing it with baroque pearls. Baroque pearls is another aesthetics which women are looking strongly at. Earlier, people wanted the more round pearls. They used to come and say, "सबसे round है वो बता दो हमें." But today, women are looking at those baroque, imperfect pearls of uneven shapes because they reflect, they associate it with themselves. They are not looking for any validation today.
True.
They are accepting themselves how they are.
True.
Their imperfect self.
True.
And that is what they are looking, the jewelry to be telling that truth of themselves.
True.
So I think that is something very interesting part of women. And another thing that I have looked, which has changed tremendously nowadays is earlier women used to come, they would be accompanied by fathers, by husbands, wherein, jewelry was always gifted. But today, women want to self-gift. That's a drastic change that I'm seeing in the industry. So women want to buy for themselves, for their milestones, to reward themselves. They don't wait for occasions. They want to buy jewelry for every day, for office wear, for destination weddings. It could be different occasion. And actually, they don't require an occasion. They celebrate themselves.
True, very well said. And gone are the days, right, where we women are trying to blend in because everybody wants us to blend in because there is a norm in the society and we have to do what everybody thinks is right. Today, we want to carve a space for ourselves. We love layers, right?
Yes.
We're not just this one unidimensional personality. We have layers around us, just like what you mentioned about our Baroque pearls, right? We are so multifaceted. We're not perfect, and yet we celebrate that because there is goodness in us and we want to double down on it, right? So I completely relate to everything that you say. And we at Shobhitam are also doing that. There are so many women out there who love saris, especially today's generation, but they find it very daunting to wear it. Something as easy as, oh, the pleats going right or left comes very naturally, but for a younger woman it is not. So we are also continuously innovating. Innovation is something that you mentioned. So you constantly have to evolve, you have to innovate to stay relevant. So speaking of pearls, what are you wearing, Radhika? Tell us about it.
So I'm wearing South Sea pearls.
Okay.
So these are supposed to be, the round, big pearls. These come from Australia.
Okay.
And those down, Indonesia, these kind of countries. And these are supposed to be high-end pearls.
Okay.
And they are, they come in the colors of off-white and golden shades. And I think this is something which I really love to wear.
Okay.
Again, with the fusion outfit, I have, paired it with South Sea pearls.
Okay. I think that color, that rich golden hue is adding so much glam to your ensemble and it blends so beautifully. I think the thing that I really like about pearls, and I think since I was a college student in Chennai, so we used to buy a lot of art jewelry for college wear. And I know my favorite pair of earrings used to be just one little pearl on top and one pearl dangling below. Whenever that would come off, break off, I would buy the exact same one again. But that was my favorite pair for a very, very long time. So pearls, I think it adds a lot of beauty from, across the diaspora, right? Like across different races. It's just that universal thing that's been there for centuries, right? So very beautiful.
So I would like to add here that, some time back, people started thinking pearls are for mothers and grandmothers.
No, not
okay, but today Gen Z is accepting pearls so well. As you've been talking, the layers, the layers are in pearls. People want to wear two, three layers, and they're styling pearls in such different ways, especially with Western outfits. So I think today pearls have become really relevant. See, pearls whisper luxury. They don't shout. And this is something which I feel now the world is understanding.
Right.
And
We've heard so
accepting it.
many stories, right? ये महाराजा हम यहाँ से ये वाला मोती लेकर आए हैं kind of a thing.
Absolutely. Pearls have been, synonymous, especially with India, through centuries. When you talk about Mughal courts or Rajput courts, it's not only the queens, the kings adore to wear
Exactly.
pearls. And we ourselves, Hyderabad has got Nizam's traditions, where the Nizams love to wear pearls a lot. So I think, pearls have always been relevant through centuries. It is just that, now again they're gaining momentum.
So, Radhika, we have a lot of premium clientele. And the biggest challenge that I see with premium clients is the first thing is give me something unique. And even if you give them thousands of unique, they're like, no, I'm looking for something else. So, that is a big challenge. So, what is your take on that?
So you are perfectly, I think this is something which we face almost every day. So every client who comes who says, I want something unique. I would like to talk about one of my clients few months back. He had come down and he said, I want a unique ring for my engagement.
Okay.
We showed them quite a few rings and he did not like anything. He said, then I went and just had a small conversation with him. I said, what is it that you're looking for? So he said, I'm looking for something, which is out of the world. It is for a very special occasion. I said, it's for my engagement. So I said, okay, do you have any special memory with her? So he just thought about it and he said, yes, I have been, we've been knowing each other since 3-4 years. And I wanted to have her as my wife, as my life partner, but I didn't know what she actually felt about it.
Oh, okay.
So we had gone to beach, and that day suddenly while walking, I just bent down and I proposed to her. I can't forget that moment. It was sunset, and there were high waves, high tides coming, and with that backdrop of nature, I proposed to her. And I can't forget, she immediately said yes, the expression on her face. So it's just that, that's a beautiful memory that I have, with her. So I said, okay, let me work on some designs. And he came back after a few days. And I showed him one of the designs, which, and seeing that, he was like, yes, this is what I want. No, I thought this was just a memory, and you have created it into a design. What I did was, we took the diamond, we just covered a little bit of it to show it as a sunset, and we created waves kind of a thing.
Oh, wow.
With diamonds. The lines of diamonds went through, and he could just, visualize that moment with the
Lovely.
ring.
Lovely.
And he said, I couldn't have got something better than this for this occasion. So when clients talk about uniqueness, what I have understood is they want something that could be either very personal or a memory that could be frozen. It could come to life. So I think these kind of experiences help us to make our designing better and connect with our clients better.
Beautiful, beautiful. And today's generation is all about personalization, right?
Absolutely.
And the biggest challenge as a brand is personalization at scale,
Yes.
right? Which is what you and I are trying to solve.
Absolutely. Right.
So, Radhika, you were recently recognized as an icon for women entrepreneurship, right? So, beyond the awards, what are some unglamorous truths about running a jewelry empire that people outside the industry might not really realize?
So, see, I think there are quite a few unglamorous truths.
Okay.
Let me start with my own personal journey. As I said that I stepped 2 decades back. So it was just not that, I had inherited a seat on the table.
Right.
I really had
And
to.
you were 2 decades younger, right? So did people really respect you at that point?
Yes, so I had to earn that respect. It was, especially when you talk about, legacy business, even a small change sounds very emotional. So if you have to change a system, then it required, lot of grit and, I had to really convince a lot. So it took a lot of time for me to, penetrate into the system, change, modernize thinking, not only in design. It had to be in operations. It has to be the way things have to be sold, the way things had to be connected with people. So I think it was really difficult for me to earn that place. So that was, and especially when people think, if you are into a management position, it is just for namesake. Somebody, or especially a woman. Okay, so I had to prove myself day in and day out because I was navigating from legacy and, evolving with modernism. So I think that is something which I'm still navigating even today.
Okay.
So this was one, challenge that I was facing then. Now, when we look at a wider audience and, looking at women tribe, I feel again when we talk about jewelry, the woman is the major consumer for it.
True.
And when we talk about manufacturing and selling, what is it that is required? It is the design aesthetics that are required, and it is understanding the emotional journey of your clients, and also connecting with them, because again the jewelry industry requires a lot of repetitions coming up. How does that happen? That happens with an emotional connect, maintaining a continuity in relationship. Woman is good in all these things. But I feel so sad that when we look at, women is not sitting on this side. Very, very few women are sitting this side, especially when I attend trade shows, B2B shows. There I see, on the manufacturing as well as on the trading side, I see 90 to 95% are men. They're hardly women. So a woman who understands the product, who is the consumer of the product, is missing there. So I think a lot of work has to be done in this particular space. Government, we all have to work in the spaces.
True, true.
That is one very important thing. Then again, coming to, the challenges and the unglamorous truths. I feel there is a lot of thing that happens behind the sparkle that you see in the industry. Okay, especially when you see today, there are a lot of market fluctuations, because of which the prices of gold and silver are wavering up and down. Today, client will buy jewelry. After 4 days, the price goes down. They place an order, and after 4 days, the price goes down. They'll come back to us and say, the price has gone down, please give us for this price. What are we supposed to do for that? So I think these are small and big challenges. Craftsmen now, retaining that traditional craftsmanship. Now the children of craftsmen do not want to take up those jobs.
True.
So again, that is a big challenge for us. There are a lot of, unconventional jobs available in the market, and, it is very difficult to retain that. Then coming to, a small mistake happening. This is a very high end, it requires a lot of money involved.
Very true.
So, a small mistake happening from us could end relationships that have been going down through decades. So we have to be so careful about it. So there are lot of unconventional, glamour behind this glamorous industry, I could say.
Very well said, right? And because you're right there in the center, on one side are the clients, on the other side are your back end, right? So you have to maintain that fine balance between both of them.
Absolutely.
Right? Keeping both parties happy.
Yes. So it is, it requires a lot of navigation, consistency, and, a new learning keeps happening every day.
True. And the first point that you mentioned, women are the primary consumers,
Yes.
right? And women are the one who start the production, because the aesthetics, all of that come from them. And yet there are so few women in this industry. And what you mentioned was very right. It has to be a holistic approach. It cannot be just one person. The government and everybody, the change has to happen throughout.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Working with a family run business requires a unique kind of synergy, right? So, how do you and your partner, Darpan, navigate differing opinions, right? Especially when it comes to high stakes expansion into new markets.
So I think difference of opinions is something which happens in every industry. So I think that is how new ideas come up. And similar thing happens between Darpan and me also. But one important thing that I feel is we both bring different perspectives to the table.
Okay.
So we have different strengths. Darpan is very good in managing operations and maintaining stability in the business, whereas I focus on designing aspects and creating consumer experiences, digitalization that is happening. So educating, coming out as a thought leader. So this is how we bring different perspectives. But as you talk about, expansion plans, which requires money, then, it ends up in a lot of discussions and debates. It definitely happens. But ultimately, we know one thing, that argument has to end not with who wins, but what is best for the brand.
True.
So we mutually respect each other's feelings, keep challenging each other's thinkings, and we also appreciate what each one contributes to the business. So that's how it keeps going with the ups and downs. And I believe one thing that, even life has its ups and downs. If it is flat, then that means life is gone.
True, very true, and very beautifully said. Because Raghu and I, we are partners, right?
Yes.
And then we complement each other very well.
Yes.
So I manage the product side, the ops side. He does the long-term strategy, vision, all of that. So we have very different domains to look after, but yes, there are decisions where both of us are involved. Like you said, there can be discussions, there could be debates, but ultimately, we have one principle that, Shobhatam is above both of us. So
Exactly.
it's never personal egos, it's always Shobhatam. So when you do that, at the end of the day, no matter how heated the argument was, we come back with a meaningful resolutions that's best for all of us.
Absolutely. I think, brands have to go up that way. So Jagdamba is also working in the similar space.
Okay, so Hyderabad is synonymous with pearls, right? So, but competition is rising. So, even in the street that you are in, you see so many other pearls brands, right? So, what is your vision for keeping both the city and Jagadamba brand at the center of global gemstone map over the next decade?
So Hyderabad, as you mentioned, is a city of pearls, and it's not, just years, decades. It's been centuries.
Right.
It's been, I think, from the time of Nizams. So what has happened is, because it has been that center and rooted very strongly into the culture and the heritage. So Hyderabad has developed generations of craftsmen. So it is very strong, in those stringing of pearls, in those, drilling, and jewelers are also, very strong when it comes to pearl jewelry. I think Hyderabad has a real good, it could become a hub for the world. But, my vision for Hyderabad would be that it should not be just, a traditional market for pearls, a traditional destination. I want Hyderabad to become a luxury pearl destination of the world. And it is very important today that if a brand or a city, any place has to become something, globally relevant, then it has to combine heritage with innovation. So I think we have the pulse for it, and we would definitely do it. In fact, I feel India has been a backbone in manufacturing jewelry,
Yes.
especially when it comes to diamonds, gemstones, and handcrafted jewelry. So I think pearls is next going to be that category that would come into it. So I do see a great future for Hyderabad and for India. And now, when coming to Jagdamba, so I have a vision. I would like to share something here.
Please.
Sometime back, one of my friends told, "Welcome to the Mickey Moto of India."
Okay.
And I really bought that vision that day. I said, yes, I want to become that Mickey Moto of India, but with our own design language and cultural identity. And I think it would not be difficult for us, because we are one of those few jewelers who are owning the entire value chain, coming from cultivation of our own pearls, and then designing the jewelry, manufacturing the jewelry, selling them. So I think we are heading towards it. And definitely, I do see Jagdamba Jewelers and Pearls becoming one of the globally respected luxury pearl brands very soon.
Lovely. I love the big, bold vision, and you've already got complete control and you're headed there. So, more power to you, Radhika.
Thank you so much.
Okay, which brings us to our signature question. Radhika, what does Nari Shakti mean to you?
See, I think I would not be able to tell you in one sentence. Nari Shakti means a lot to me. It isn't just strength. It is a ability of women to, nurture, to innovate, to, bring out lot of things. I think Nari Shakti means to me is, responsibility without applause. See, we women step into different roles. We have to manage families, businesses, careers, and come what may, things may go out of your control.
True.
But still, you have to show up. And you have to be there consistently managing things. And a lot of times, there is nobody to applaud you.
True.
You have to step into the roles even if nobody is, even thinking that what you are doing. So I think it comes with lot of responsibilities. Then Nari Shakti also means to me that it's a combination of grit and grace. Okay, wherein you are soft on relationships, but you're firm on decisions. You're strong on it. So it is a combination of that. It also means to me that lifting others while you are rising. And that is a space wherein I work a lot, being part of Flow, Vicky Flow, and heading Empowerment Division since last few years. We have been working a lot on this. We work on different strata of women, that is the grassroots level, the middle class, and the white collar.
Okay.
So wherein we work on creating lot of opportunities for women. These opportunities and platforms we create through skilling and giving them access to markets and networks. So I think this is something which is very important for me, that you don't need to rise alone. Nari Shakti has to be that you have to rise collectively. And I also think that women should connect with lot of such kind of networks, with women who can be honest with you and not, just kind to you. They should be able to show you a mirror where you're lacking. What are your, weaknesses? What are your strengths? So I think we should be associated with these kind of platforms wherein we can rise together. And this is what is Nari Shakti to me, that women rise collectively.
Very beautifully said. Totally loved it. So, as you said, people associate Shakti with power, with making change through aggression, strength, but it's not so. It's the little gentle things that we do every day. Being nice to someone is strength. Right? Showing up when people are not watching is strength, right? So, very, very beautifully said, Radhika. I absolutely loved today's conversation. Thank you so much for coming over. And if you think that this was a conversation that inspired you, share it with someone who needs to learn. And then the biggest takeaway, Radhika, for me is one, on the business side, just inheriting something that is, full of heritage legacy doesn't end the game. You have to constantly innovate, stay relevant, and you're doing just the right things. And the second thing is, don't rise alone, rise together, because it's not about us being there, being ahead of the game, but enable so many other countless women. It'll all add up. It's all good karma at the end of the day. So tell us what you thought in your comments. And then we look forward to seeing you all again next week with another Nari and her story. Until then, stay strong, stay beautiful.